Welcome, everyone, to today's episode of Influencer Confidential. I'm so excited to bring you guys not only a creator, but someone that I have known forever and ever in my personal business and in my starting off in my entrepreneurship journey. I'm so excited to welcome you guys, Nelly. Nelly is a travel, food, and content lifestyle creator. She's based between Bali and Miami. She's the founder of Freedom Creator Academy, and she helps other people with their YouTube careers. She has a collective community of over 691,000 followers. She's partnered with brands like BMW, GoPro, Kiehl's, Turkish Airlines, and many more. And she's turned her influence into a thriving business, achieving financial freedom, but also making sure that she is prioritizing a life first mindset. We'll talk more about that as we go. But things were not always easy for Nelly. After a very public breakup on a joint account, she walked away from over 1 million followers and had to start from scratch. So, in today's episode, we're going to talk about starting over. Guess what? She's even better off now than she was before. But this episode is going to dive deep into relationships in business, public breakups, and of course, I really want to pick her brain on all things YouTube growth because so many of us want to learn about YouTube. So, Nelly, welcome to Influencer Confidential.
Hello, hello. So good to see you, Nina.
This is
And
so
everybody else.
Yeah, this is so fun doing this. And I think, like I mentioned very briefly, we've known each other forever. You took photos of us when we were first getting started in the Sidewalker land. Like you took our headshots and like our photos.
Yeah, and look at us now.
I know. Look at us
It's
now.
crazy. Yeah.
So I want to start with the big question. How did it feel walking away from 1 million followers?
Wow, how do I feel? How I felt, I would say, because it's been 3 years. It was a really tough decision because I dedicated my whole life, my whole day, like every aspect of my life to building this channel and building this brand. And knowing that it was my main income stream was also a crucial part of it. I just like saying no to that was really hard, but I knew that I needed to walk away from it. It was my decision to be able to create my own thing, my own brand, to have my own voice, because for the longest time I was just seen as, the second part, and I didn't really have my own personality in there. You adapt a lot to being a couple and just going along with the content creation, and you say yes to a lot of things that you might not agree on. And I'm really glad I did it because now I have a platform that is really aligned with who I am. I am attracting the following that I wanted, and I have great opportunities. I am doing so much better in regards to my work. I'm earning more and working less, and I'm 100% aligned with my mission that I have for my channel. So I think overall, I know it was really tough when I did. There was even a very dark time where I was like doubting myself and like really questioning everything. But looking back, I'm so glad I did it. It was the best decision of my life.
I love that. Did you ever, for a second, when you had this pivotal shift in starting over, think to yourself, I don't want to do content creation anymore. I'm done. Like, I don't have it in me. So, for those of you listening in, just a quick backstory Nelly and her partner grew this shared audience to over 1 million followers. And because of this very public breakup, she walked away from that and had to really start over. So Nelly, like, did you ever kind of just say, forget content, like I'm going corporate, I cannot do this again? Because the thought of building again another massive following is a huge undertaking.
You know that content creation is not easy. It comes with a lot of work. Having a YouTube channel is 1.5 jobs, and content creation by itself really needs all of your attention and all of your energy. So if you're not in the right mindset, you cannot deliver. And at that time, when I was going through that dark time of having to go through a breakup, especially a public breakup, and then like thinking of all of the hardships that I had, like moving to a different country, starting over, having a new circle of friends and everything, and then on top of everything, starting over with another YouTube channel was a very scary thing because I dedicated so much time to building an audience and building a channel, building a brand. I did daily vlogging for 3 years. That for itself is extreme. So, I reached a point where I'm like, is this really what I want to do? Do I really want to put myself in front of the camera and, make a living from like me being me? Or do I want to do something completely different? Do I want to just, go back to a job or start something completely different. So yeah, there were a lot of doubts.
What kind of made you decide to jump back into content creation then? Was there like a moment that you're like, you know what, like I want to start again? Because now you're starting again. It's not ground zero per se, but
Yeah.
it's like rebuilding another business.
Yeah. There was definitely a part where I think my friends played a huge role. We were traveling together and they're also content creators. And I just got reminded of the fun part of content creation. Also, my audience was also a crucial part because they encouraged me to keep going, to keep uploading, to show us what I'm going through, to show us where I'm going with my travels, because they got inspired by it. I had people reaching out to me who had cancer and they're like, I don't have many joys in life, but watching you having so much fun and like traveling to places that I cannot travel to is so like crucial to my daily routine. And yeah, it gives me goosebumps, literally. And that gave me a lot of strength, knowing that it's not just for me. There are like a lot of people out there who need this kind of empowerment. And we talk a lot about empowerment. You empower me as well in so many ways where I'm like, I'm looking up to you and other people are looking up to me, you know? Well, I felt like I found my purpose again. And
That's
yeah,
amazing.
it was really hard for me to pick up the camera and create and be like in this flow because I stopped for 3 months. Once you stop, it feels awkward. It feels foreign to you. What was your second nature was just like, oh my God, this is so hard. How do I approach this? Especially because I had to create a new brand and I needed to find myself first before I could create a brand about me.
I love
Yeah.
that. So I think that's a really interesting takeaway is the importance of not stopping because when you do stop, you lose that fume, you lose that fire and the muscle gets weak. And I think that's a really important takeaway. You mentioned something that I also kind of want to dig a little deeper in because I know a lot of people listen to Influencer Confidential and Sidewalker Daily in general, and they are in couples or married or single, but recently dating or something of that nature. And they want to build a business together and they want to do this together. And something that you kind of touched on was this idea of that your voice wasn't really aligned with you because it's two people, right? It's not like
Yeah.
a personal brand. And that you almost felt like you couldn't be as maybe as authentic as you'd want to be. Do you think that comes with the territory of like couples content because it's two people or what are your thoughts around that?
I definitely had that phase of like having a certain style of content that I wanted to show. So I think that was the difficulty in regards to being a couples channel, not being able to say the things, or like not having the time or the air time to talk about my thoughts, what is going on in my head, what are my interests, what sets my soul on fire was just not like there was no place for it. And I'm not saying that I didn't have the chance to do my own channel. It was just that I was so busy working on that couples channel that I was just overwhelmed with everything. It was a big workload. Daily vlogging is really tough. If you upload a video every day that is at least 8 to 12 minutes long, it's tough. So you dedicate your whole routine around that. So
Do you think that that ultimately can hurt a couple? Like, having to be at at that high level of content creation? I mean, it seems
yeah,
like that
there's
would have a toll on a relationship.
the problem with couples channels is that your private life sometimes becomes also your public life. Meaning you go on a date night, you have dinner, let's create some content. This is so cute. I love the dress that I'm wearing. The food looks amazing. Let's create some content while we are here, right? So you just want to make sure that you constantly create. So there is no separation between private life and your business life or your online persona. So the separation was really tough. It's really hard to switch off. And I also know that a lot of content creators who do have couples channels, they're always switched on. They're always talking about, oh, what about we do this? What about we take this direction? And it's like there is no break. There's no time for you as a couple sometimes to do couple things that are offline and just for yourself, for your memories that are not posted on social medias.
Because everything
It's tough.
content.
Everything becomes content. Yeah.
That's so interesting. So, what advice do you have for creators that are interested in maybe starting an account or a brand with their partner?
That would sound tough, but like, don't. No, I'm just kidding. If you really define boundaries and rules that you can stick to and also responsibilities within the channel, then definitely go for it. If you feel comfortable with having arguments about work and private life with your partner, go for it. It's really a tough one. I would say there should be a clock off time. There should be like office hours. You should have content creation hours and then clock off and then it's done. And then you don't create anymore. You have to, when you go on a date, when you go on a trip, decide we are not going to create content. We are going to enjoy ourselves because we worked hard and we need this creative juice or like this creative break to just realign with what we want to do. And definitely just make time for yourself as well, not just as a couple, but time for yourself. It's so crucial. Go out with your girls, do your workout classes, take some time to meditate, paint, have some hobbies. That is something that I didn't really have that much. And then just like, this
Yeah.
self-care, I would say.
No, yeah, that's interesting because I know a lot of people have this illusion of we're going to start an account together and, we're going to do this and it's going to be amazing. What advice would you have for women who want to start a couple's account, but to
Yeah.
also protect themselves so that they're not in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and then have to walk away? We don't talk about, when you think of like asset division, you
Yeah.
don't think about
It's a tough
media
thing.
being an asset, right? Like if there's a divorce, you're getting the house, like you're getting the dog, like who's getting the followers? These are not conversations that people are having until now. Like who's getting the million follower account? Who's getting
Exactly.
the email list? Like how are we divvying that up?
Yeah.
It's just not happening.
So content creation has become a business, right? So when you start out as let's just try this out for fun and see how it goes. Okay, fine, but you really need to have something like a prenup basically where you just write down these are the rules. This is how like if we split the worst case scenario, what is going to happen to it? How are we going to divide the assets that we have? And trust me when I say dividing assets is the hardest part. Like the breakup itself, you will heal from it within like a few months. That's fine. But going through the assets that you acquired throughout your business relationship, it's like a divorce. It's very intense. It took me 3 years to sort out my assets. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend to write down, make a contract, and just really think about what is the worst case scenario that can happen. How can we make sure that everything is split fairly?
And those are things that I'm so happy we're talking about. Like when we talk about, content creation, again, this is not something I've ever heard anyone talk about. Like, how are we sharing the following? How are we sharing our social media clout? Because it seems in your scenario, you walked away from 1 million followers, which
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people could do. So, and I do want to talk about the rebuild. But before we do that, let's talk about public breakups. When you build an audience, a shared audience around your life and something significant happens, whether it's child loss or a divorce or a breakup, your
Mhm.
audience almost feels like they expect a statement, they expect you to share. You've let them in and everything else, and now you're holding back. How did you decide what was correct to share so publicly about your breakup with your fans and your audience?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, breakups are not always friendly. It can be very messy. But for myself, I decided I want to walk away from this with dignity and like have a very fair public statement that we make where we just share, okay, look, it didn't work out. We just had different goals, different values, whatever. And we just kept it as that.
Did you guys come up with a statement together on how you're going to address it to the fans?
Yeah. Yes. First of all, we had to address it because we didn't create content together for like a few months. And I would like pop up every now and then just because we had brand partnerships that, we signed before the breakup. So we had to stick to the contract. So I would appear every now and then and say, hey, it's me. Just like pretending everything is fine while in reality, my whole life fell apart. And then eventually when we delivered all of the content according to contract, we had to make a public statement because people were asking, why are you not in the same country? Like, that's so weird. Okay, we get it. Like, you always travel together, but all of a sudden you're traveling apart. That's so weird. People are starting to ask questions. People are sending you messages. People are commenting and coming up with theories that will hurt you. And I think that was the hardest part of going through that breakup, was just receiving messages about, hey, I just saw him with this other girl. Like, what's going on? I'm so confused. And you're just like, can't really talk about it because you don't want to drag your personal life into the public. I think that was the biggest.
Does it come with the job though?
I thought it did, but I learned it doesn't have to. Because the way I see my public persona is I go to my office like everybody else. My travels, my trips, my content creation is my office. And I'm a travel channel. I'm not a relationships channel, right?
Well,
So I try to inspire people to travel to new places, meet other people, learn from other cultures, explore new foods and flavors. It's not just about what's going on in my private life. And of course, I get it. You do have to share some of your personal things, your character and your routines and the people that you surround yourself with, just because it is part of your brand as well. But I'm currently in a relationship that is not shared publicly, and it's so much healthier. It's like day and night. People are not really asking that many questions about my relationship anymore. They are curious, of course, and like every time I upload a picture or like he's seen in a video, everybody's like, oh, when are you going to do like a formal introduction? I'm like, I don't want to push him into the public eye because it can be a really, really tough thing to be put out to being in the public, right? Because people are just making assumptions, comments. Sometimes people insult, it's really not the direction that I want to take. So I keep it as my office.
how do you set boundaries with your audience when they feel so entitled to learn more about you or find more about you? I think one creator I talked to once made the reference, it's like having 500,000 people have your phone number. There this idea of pressure and creating boundaries around that. Like, did you receive support? Did you receive backlash? Was your audience divided? And then how did you kind of create those boundaries for your own mental health, what they are entitled to know and what
Yeah.
they're not?
So like I said, we had to make a public statement about our breakup. And then we also had to, like in the same video, create some rules about how we want to be treated. Like what we expect from our followers, what we are not going to talk about online. I basically just have to, every now and then I do a Q&A, and then I mention, okay, this is something that is going on in my life. And reflecting back on, the first few months of the breakup, this was a very tough situation. I remember reading comments and like crying and receiving messages, couldn't say anything, right? So I was just like, oh, like, I would just sit there and say, thank you so much for, being so caring and checking in with me. But, I'm currently healing. And people can relate when you say, my heart is broken. I'm really not ready to talk about it. And they just leave you. They respect your privacy to that extent. You just have to communicate. It's like in a relationship. Communication is key. So you really have to communicate and set boundaries also with your audience.
That's wonderful. And
Yeah.
creators, if you are navigating heartbreak in the public eye, just being really human and letting people know, hey, I'm healing. I'm really sad. This is something that I'm going through. They usually
Yeah.
back away, but if you don't say anything, you're like, they're just going to keep coming and coming and coming.
Yes, exactly. And that was basically the part where we both decided we need to go public with this. It was not for the views. It was not to make money from it. We just had to, first of all, inform our partners about what happened privately first before the video comes out, our family, then make a public statement and also tell our viewers, this is why we are not going to create content together anymore, without going too much into detail.
So just to wrap up this section before we move on, you would say, looking back, before you started a creator couples account, the one thing you would have done differently is to ensure there was a contract in place between you and your partner to decide what happens in terms of asset separation, who gets
Yeah.
what. That's like that one strong, solid piece of advice, correct?
Yeah.
I love that.
And I have to add one thing. If you have the urge to, I don't know, share something about your passions, then just make sure you create a separate channel and post on it separately. That has nothing to do with your couple's channel. Yeah.
That way,
Because in case you do have that breakup, you're not starting from zero. You have already something going on, and then you can just build on that.
I love that. So if you are in a couple's account, a really surefire way to ensure if anything does go south, build your personal brand at the same time and suggest that your partner does that as well if they'd like. So that way you guys are also building your personal identities and not having to start from ground zero in case there is a breakup.
Exactly.
I love that. So that was a little rough to hear and go through, but now there's been a lot of healing and there's actually a lot of good stuff now happening. You're on the other side. You have built your own brand. Like we were talking about, you're at a community now of 691,000, followers collectively, which you did in 3 years. Like, people have spent their whole lives and have never been able to hit that milestone. You've not
Mhm.
only done that, you're making more than what
Mhm.
you did when you were in a million follower account. You're at, like, this other level. And I wanna talk about that, and I know that YouTube had a big part to play. So talk to us about growth mode. When you got your head in the sand and you're like, "We're growing, baby, 3 years, let's go." What were some things that you did when starting over to help you see that rapid growth?
I think it all goes back to a call that I had. I told you I had these 3 months of like just wanting to quit and just say like, fuck it, whatever. I don't want to do this anymore. I received a call from a brand that reached out before with the couples channel and they wanted to invite me to speak on a panel in Bangkok about real estate. I did some real estate content as well on the channel. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry to inform you, but we are not a couples channel anymore. So it will just be me. I just want to clarify, are you reaching out to me or us? And he's like, no, we want you. And I was like, what? What? And I remember getting off that call and really just this is giving me goosebumps because this was such a pivotal time where I realized they want me. I'm capable of doing this. I want to take action and just do my own thing and give it all and just go for it and just see where it goes, right? And having that confidence from that brand, just oh my god, it's like I'm all teary eyed. Having that confidence to speak on a panel in front of specialists, I was like, this is huge. This is really like I have built something not just with that brand, but people know me. And because during that time I was just sharing a lot about, moving to a new place, buying a new place, how I would decorate it, and so on. People saw me as an authority in that field, especially I used to live in the Philippines. So it was Manila real estate. So that was a real estate summit in Asia. And I was just really able to create content naturally about real estate without being a pro, without being a real estate agent. And people got really interested. Oh my god, I love that building that you're moving in. How much is it? How many bedrooms? And where can we like reach out to a real estate agent? So that for itself gave me so much confidence. And that was the part where I said, okay, we're going to just create. And then I started creating and people were really engaged. People were really wanted to see what's going on. I also shared some private aspects of my life where I'm like, this is my first birthday alone in 14 years. And a lot of people could relate because, people go through breakups. They know how it feels when you have your birthday coming up that you celebrated with someone else and then all of a sudden you are alone. So reading the comments on those videos, and I think my birthday video got 500,000 views. People were like, you can do this, Nelly. And then again, the community aspect came in, not just the brand aspect, the community aspect came in and they're like, you can do this, let's go. We want to see more. We want to follow you on your travels. We want to, see what you're eating basically because I'm a food channel as well. That gave me the confidence boost. I already knew that I had the tools, I had the know-how. So it's just like, okay, let's just do it. Let's just start over.
And did your daily vlogging skills from your couples channel and the muscle that you built in your other business, just being so consistent, being able to show up, being able to create, did that just all kind of flood back for you? And maybe you could talk to us a little bit about how you are so consistent, because I think that's something a lot of creators struggle with.
Yeah. 100%. I agree that you build a muscle. It's like going to the gym. It becomes second nature. So content creation was something where I can just pick up the camera and talk randomly about a certain topic. And people are like, how do you do this? I'm like, I don't know. It's just like that's how I'm built. That's how it works. When you talk about how to land paid brand partnerships, you can talk for hours. And I can talk for hours about new destinations, people that I met, food that I tried. I can talk hours about content creation, how to build your YouTube channel. Like when I have my private conversations conversation. I have also very strong entrepreneurial conversations. So it's like, it's just something that comes naturally. And because you have built that muscle, you become passionate about it. You know you are capable of doing it. So you just continue. And to come back to your question on how to sustain it, I think by just uploading and creating. You just have to do it over and over again. Increase, look at numbers, look on content, how it performed, make small adjustments. Again, just keep on going. I think that the best advice that I can give is don't be perfectionist, just upload. Because a lot of people think they compare the level 0 to a level 20, where they're like, I want to have as many followers as Nelly has, but I don't know how to speak in front of the camera. I don't know how to set up this microphone. I don't know anything about travel. So where do I start? And a lot of people get discouraged by that. My best advice is just start with what you have, with the skills you have, the camera you have, just in general, the tools, and then just try to learn. Upload, learn until it becomes second nature. It's a routine. It's a habit that you have established.
I think that's amazing. YouTube is something that I know you swear by. You love it. I love it. We're both YouTube girlies. So what are like 3 YouTube tips that you think are it, especially for those listening in that maybe don't have a YouTube or want to get started or maybe have one and are in a rut? YouTube is like your baby. I feel like it's like you're
Yes.
so good at it. So talk to us about YouTube. What are those 3 tips that you swear by when it comes to YouTube growth?
So I told you this when we met. There are 3 things that I want to strongly emphasize. The success of your YouTube channel depends on the thumbnail, the title, and the hook. You don't have to have the best ever video. It doesn't have to be super cinematic. It doesn't have to have like crazy effects or like whatever. You really need to speak to your audience. And there are people who like fast-paced, short content. And then there are also people who like slow content. Your viewers probably listen to your advice while they are, I don't know, doing errands at home or like listening to your podcast during the drive to work or like whatever. So you have more like of a voice. People value you because of the educational content and because you are an authority in what you do. You're very good at it. And, you just have to figure out, what am I actually good at? And don't try to be someone else. Just stay authentic. So once you have the thumbnail, the title, and the hook set, you reach the right audience. And then that's actually those 3 factors they will set you up for success. If you're consistent with that, you're unstoppable.
What about equipment for newbies? Like, I think a big part of content creation is mindset, and we need the best camera and the best this and the best that. What would you say for someone just getting started? What's some things that they should invest in or they shouldn't? Or when is the right time to invest? Like I told you when I first started, it was with a webcam, and that is what worked for me. I grew my channel with
Yeah.
a webcam. I know people are using phones. Like, talk to us about the equipment hurdle for those that want to jump into the YouTube world.
Yeah. I would highly suggest to just start with what you have.
Okay.
Everybody has a phone, and the quality on phones these days is incredible. I filmed a vlog part on my phone, and I was like, holy guacamole, like, why am I using an expensive Sony camera when I can actually have the same kind of quality in 4K resolution on my phone with also great audio? And I went from investing into equipment where I'm like, okay, let's get the expensive camera, the expensive lens, the drone, this and that and that.
Right.
The light, yeah, have the whole studio set up when all you need is basically is what you have on you. Light is great, but if there's one thing that I would really recommend to do is invest in audio. If you have great audio, that's perfect. I have a video that I uploaded where the audio is bad. I'm like, oh my God, like, what did I think? For me, it was just like, okay, let's just push out the content. But I really want to make sure that the audio is great because it's another experience. When the audio is off, people don't want to listen to you. It's not so much about the visuals. You don't have to have 4K. You can upload content in 1080p and it will be fine. But what they want is really great audio qualities.
People get scared to edit. Oh, well, I don't have these transitions or these headers. I know there's so many free YouTube videos nowadays that teach you how to edit. Like, are we just using Final Cut Pro? Like, what are we, CapCut? Like, what are we using to do editing for YouTube nowadays?
So I have to say I kind of like got used to a high-end software where it's expensive, like monthly I don't know, $70 or something. But it's a whole package of software programs. You don't need that. You can basically just go, like you said, on CapCut and edit your whole YouTube video on it. Or you can use softwares like Filmora, for example. It already has AI tools integrated where you basically just say, oh, let's just adjust the audio, remove the wind noise. It's just a click. You don't have to have knowledge around it. You just click and it's like all explained. So thankfully we have AI can help us to create content consistently. And yeah, once you have your workflow set up, we talked about workflow the other day, it becomes very easy and sustainable. Yeah, the biggest hurdle with content creation is, especially with YouTube, is, oh my God, I have to film, I have to edit, I have to create thumbnails, I have to come up with titles, I have to come up with SEO, I have to post on my other social media channels. So it's a lot that comes with it. If you have a streamlined workflow, it's actually not that hard. I sit down when I have a reaction channel as well. So if I sit down to do my reaction videos, I do 5 in a row. And then I send it to I have an editor. Thank God. I reached that point where I'm like, I can afford an editor. If you can't afford an editor, look for editors on Fiverr there are like really affordable ones. But I would recommend to get a little bit of knowledge yourself how to edit just to understand the process.
Agreed. So why
Yeah.
YouTube? What do you love about YouTube compared to all the other platforms?
Okay, yeah, I'm a huge fan of YouTube. YouTube has been very consistent when it comes to monetization because a lot of platforms have changed. Instagram comes up with, oh, we will monetize creators. No, we're stopping it. We will give you a bonus. No, we'll stop it. And you're just like, oh my God, what the heck? And then, so many changes with algorithm, new tools, new implementations. Instagram has been like overwhelming for me, to be honest. I'm just like, I can't keep up. Every freaking month there's something new with Instagram and I have to adapt, and now I have to post test reels and I have another editing app, and it's just, it's a lot. So YouTube has been very consistent, has been very supportive of creators, rewarding creators for creating content in form of AdSense or building a long format platform. YouTube is also a platform, like you said, you want to say so much, but you can't squeeze it into 1 minute. You want to talk about a topic for 30 minutes, right? So that people understand the depth of what you want to teach them, right? So YouTube has been great for that. Then also community building. I feel like YouTube has a stronger community than any other platform. It is just the place where people come to be entertained and to learn. There is no other platform so far where you have long form content that offers all of these things. So I don't know. YouTube is just like this all rounder where I feel like, I don't know the CEO, but I feel like we're friends. You know what I mean? They're really making an effort to understand what the creator economy looks like, how they can improve, and how they can motivate creators to continue creating. So yeah, overall, it's just,
And you've
I
seen
don't
the
know. It was
most
just,
success on that platform too. It's
yes,
YouTube for you has shown you the most success, like
yeah.
in terms of growth, ad revenue, brand deals, all of it.
Yes. The one thing with YouTube is that you don't have to have that many followers to influence. And you are the best example. I remember you started your YouTube channel with Sidewalker Daily and you told me, I have 3,000 subscribers, but I'm making more money than like on Instagram. The conversion is also different because people get to know you so much better and can relate to you, and trust is built. It's much stronger on other platforms. That's why it's like a high converting platform as well. So if you want to start your channel and you're like, oh, I don't have 100,000 followers, how do I sell? There are so many ways to sell on YouTube without having a huge following.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
And this is probably what led us to Freedom Creator Academy. So can you talk to us a little bit about your newest venture and what it is and who it's for?
So because I had to start over with my channels, and people have been reaching out saying, "How did you do it?" It's just incredible. Like, I mean, we had this conversation just earlier on where you just said, "Oh, what was your overall following again?" I just wanted to check in out the right numbers, and I'm like, "Oh, holy guacamole! It's almost 700,000, right?" That mindset of like having the tools and being able to turn my passion into my career has been actually a very long idea of mine, where I wanted to give back to my community. I wanted to change lives. I wanted to have a bigger impact. And the life that I live is actually freaking amazing because I'm my own boss. I have a lot of freedom when it comes to where I work from. I have a lot of freedom in terms of financials as well. I can create content that is aligned with my values. I don't have to drag myself into an office where I just pretend to work. I'm sorry, like I'm just saying it because, I've been there. I had a boss that I hated. I was like, oh my God, I can't hear him breathing. So being my own boss, being able to turn my passion into a career has been so, I don't know, it's so empowering that I said, okay, I really want to change other people's lives and help them grow and monetize their passions.
On
So
YouTube specifically, correct?
on YouTube specifically, yeah.
Nelly, how do people find out more about you? Like, I know you have so many places, but like, how do we find out more about the Freedom Creator Academy for those that are interested in YouTube and growth? And again, you are walking proof of it. So let us know how we can find that and also where they can find you because you're on all the
Okay.
places. So let us know.
Yeah. I'm everywhere.
Yeah.
So, Freedom Creator Academy on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. And then the website is freedomcreatoracademy.co. And my personal brand is Nelly's Life on YouTube and nellyslife.co on Instagram.
I'm going to
Yeah.
put all of the things in the show notes so you guys can have all of those links. Thank you so much, Nelly, for today's conversation and being so open and raw. I really wanted to center this conversation around, business and love and the lessons learned, which I think we got a lot of. I wanted to talk about, our audiences expecting things from us and kind of having that bold ask and boundary setting. We talked about your rebuild and then, of course, YouTube growth and success on YouTube because we are all looking to grow in our businesses. And I'm a YouTube first gal. Like I always say, YouTube is wifey, YouTube is hubby. Like it's where I feel most at home. I love that platform as well. And I'm so excited to see that now you're kind of getting into this educator role as well and helping people on YouTube because there's room for everyone. Personally, YouTube has changed my world. It's changed my business. So I'm excited to see
Wow.
that you guys are
That's very
that
powerful.
you're getting into it as well.
Yeah. I'm so happy for you. I mean, a lot of people underestimate how much opportunity there is.
Yeah.
And it's not just the opportunity, it's not just the monetization that you are able to have, it's also the personal growth. I feel like you step into a whole different role once you are on YouTube. You become a different person and yeah, you just look at certain things in a different way.
Yeah, and your videos don't have to be complicated. Like, take me for example. They're not complicated. They're talking head. They're educational, but they change lives. And it all
Yeah.
comes down to what it is that you're looking to do and the type of universe you're trying to build. And YouTube has something for everyone. So guys, if you're interested more in the YouTube world, check out Nelly's Freedom Creator Academy because it's very YouTube centric. And make sure you guys follow Nelly on all her channels and keep up with Nelly's life. Thank you, Nelly, for
Thank you so much, Nina. I'm so happy I was able to, share my thoughts here, share my experience, and hopefully empower other people to make the right choices and just follow their passion.
absolutely, because that's what it's
Yeah.
about.
Nice. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thanks, guys.